wavetables.lol. That's wavetables.lol. Home of KRC Math Waves, the world's largest collection of wavetables, single cycle waveforms, and even some samples for all sorts of modern synthesizers, including our new friend Unify 2 from PlugInGuru, PlugInGuru.com. And Unify 2 is a very interesting and unusual plugin. That it's not a DAW, but it's not your standard synthesizer plugin either. It is a plugin that can host other plugins, and it can even host itself. So as another synth tuber would have it, it's like the Inception plugin. You can have Unifies inside of Unifies inside of Unifies. And I've done a video about Unify 1 before that talks about the Groove Summit library that PlugInGuru did and requires Unify to run. And that's how I got into Unify. But Unify is a really exceptional sound design environment. I need to get this video out because Unify 2 is on an introductory price right now. It is usually going to be $149, but it's basically $50 off, so it's $149 for a brand new purchase. It's just $49, usually $99 as an upgrade from Unify 1. And so I wanted to get that out there like straight away, because that discount only lasts until Sunday, November 9th. I am recording on what day? Oh, November 5th. Play something, Keith. Oh, and hey, while you're here, like and subscribe for more talky synthesizer content. I mean, first off, it sounds great. And it comes with easily more than 10 gigabytes of content. Let's just take a look at the PlugInGuru site and try to explain this crazy thing. I mean, it's crazy in a good way. So Unify 2 is a host plugin that can load all of your MIDI effects, audio effects, and instruments, so that's like VST and audio units instruments, in a single creative environment that comes with more than 60 plugins before you even add /scan plugins of your own. And it has a huge library of patches. It's in the hundreds. It says over 850 on the website there, but I feel like it's more. And what we're listening to right now is a patch that's actually made up of 2 of the Unify factory patches, plus an instance of Korg Wavestate, which I can't believe I've never demoed on this channel. I'm a big fan of Wavestate. Anyway, boy, talky. Where do we start with Unify 2? So I'm running Unify 2 in standalone mode right now, where it is this creative environment that is similar to a DAW, but kind of has a more sort of mixery interface than I would be using in something like Bitwig. And it's really like a super synthesizer. So you can combine like MIDI plugins, which can do various things. And you might not actually have any MIDI plugins, but Unify 2 comes with a bunch of MIDI plugins that can do very interesting things, including like an arpeggiator that's driving a lot of this patch, but also a thing called Polybox that we'll get into, just standard MIDI routing. If I right click up here on any one of these channels, it'll expand all of them. And so you can see that I've got like 2 instances of Unify. This is actually Unify 1. And then this is a Unify 2 patch. And then also Korg Wavestate Native. What am I trying to say? It's really fun to play. I think that synthesizers and plugins should be fun, and Unify 2 is definitely fun. It also sounds great, and a lot of the content that comes with it is fantastic. And it does some really unusual things. Now, as I mentioned, I'm running this in standalone mode, but you can load it into your DAW where everything that you've created inside of Unify can exist in just a single track in your DAW. Or I suppose it could also just be full of effects plugins and you could have a mega effects rack in your DAW. That would be another way to use it. But if you've seen my channel before, that if a plugin has a standalone interface, if I'm showing that plugin, I like to show it standalone, right? So I'm not distracted by the DAW, and we can just kind of, experience it as it is and use it as a live performance environment. Unify 2 gives you that for any plugin. So even plugins that don't have a standalone mode. I'm looking at you, Serum 2, right? We could do that here. Maybe we'll just do that. I wasn't planning to do that, but we could reinitialize. Oops. I've got my metronome on. Let's turn the metronome off. The metronome is very interesting too. We'll get there. So if we initialize Unify 2, we just get this instrument layer that uses a built-in plugin called Sine Wave Synth. That's literally just a simple, it's a simple sine wave synth. Come up, sine wave synth. Why are you not there? Oh, I guess maybe sine wave synth doesn't have an interface. It's just to tell you that, hey, there's signal here. So we can replace this with any of the plugins on our system. So I could do it by right-clicking, and then I could do Serum. Serum 2, VST3. Oh, actually, one of these is probably the effects, right? I think this is probably the Serum 2. Yeah, there's... So it's kind of like I'm hosting Serum 2 now as just a sort of a desktop, right? Standalone mode. Oh, there it is. Look at that. There's nothing behind it. We're just in standalone mode. And of course I can select any of the presets. Whoa. And this preset doesn't have any effects on it? That's wild. Oh, tails. This is kind of weird, actually. So Serum still has a little bit of a problem where it, oops, I don't want record. Where's my start and stop? I want to change this a bit. Where's the mode? Where'd the mode button go? Wait a minute. No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Here's the mode. Manual start stop. It needs to be, I think it does need to be manual start stop. There it goes. Come back, Serum 2. Come back. Yeah, that's a little bug with Serum in Unify 2. Maybe not a bug, but a behavioral issue. Serum has behavioral issues. Okay, so we just loaded this instance of Serum, and we can hear that it does have effects on it. But what if we wanted to play this patch with some additional effects, right? Well, recently, for example, Spectrasonics released Omnisphere 3, which has a separate effects rack. So I can do things in Unify 2, I could add another instrument that would essentially be layered onto Serum, or I can add an auxiliary effect, or I can add a MIDI effect, or I could even insert an effect right into this instance of Serum. So we've got Serum 2 here, okay? And I could change it by clicking here. I could swap this for something else, but I'm not going to swap that right now. And then this is an insert effect. So I could put an insert effect here. We'll do add all effects. We will go to, sorry, that's behind my head. We'll go to Omnisphere. And now I've got an instance of Omnisphere effects rack. And, let's do modulation chorus unstable drifter, which would add some. an interesting, like, you know, kind of detuning and drifting effect to it. What about drifting clean? Yeah, that's cool. That makes it more analog-y, right? And then I might drop another effect in here, right? Like maybe the super verb. Let's change your mix a little bit. And so now I've got, right, Serum and Omnisphere FX, like right inside of it. You can also add an auxiliary effect. So I could add an aux effect. We'll do an empty aux effect layer, and that shows up down here, right? And we can open and close it for more details. Let's see, let's set up in our aux effect, let's do, we'll do another, because I like them so much. Let's do another Omnisphere effects rack, but let's put a delay here on the aux. So we could go to delay. You know, there's all these new ones. Well, Swiss Army delay is good. Let's see, let's do like, yeah, eighth note slap. We're not going to hear it just yet. Let's do, okay, eighth note slap. And then, because I've got an aux effect, now I have an aux send. So this is aux send 1, and I can send some of Serum 2 to this auxiliary effect. Not really the effect I wanted. That's like just a single delay, isn't it? Let's select a different preset here. Drifting away tape. A little harsh, sorry. And you start to get the idea that, like, you can start to build very complex things within Unify 2. And you can have a lot of fun, like playing with all of your existing instruments and effects. And I didn't really intend to build a fresh patch, but I'm gonna turn my level down a little bit. It's a little high. The delay just kind of keeps going. That's fun. Drench your synth parts in delay. Why not? So now we could add another instrument layer that will play alongside of this Serum 2 instance. And maybe we should combine two great super synths. Let's combine Serum 2 with Omnisphere 3, right? So I can go over here. These little target indicators are like kind of where you can take actions on things. And excuse me. Oh boy. Sorry. I'm a little congested. You know what that means? It's drink time. It's cocktail hour here at the studio. All right. So when we create a new instrument layer, I'm going to turn the volume of this down. This is a volume slider, and you can see my level is adjusting over here. You get a lot of information in Unify 2 when you have these layers expanded. You'll note that in addition to being able to see the level, right over here with the level indicators, you can also see the CPU consumption that you're getting for each plugin. Remind me to talk about that a little more later, because Unify 2 is extremely CPU efficient, which is awesome. Let's go get Omnisphere so I can click this little target and I can say swap all instruments. And now, since this is an instrument layer, I will have access to Spectrasonics Omnisphere, Omnisphere 3 VST. Unify 2 hosts VSTs and audio units. I don't know if it hosts AAX. It is not available as an AAX plugin right now. It does not support clap yet. I mean, almost everything that is available in clap format is also available as a VST3, or perhaps a VST2. And now we've got Omnisphere playing alongside of Serum. That's just the default patch. Maybe we should go get one of my user, let's see, user directories. Maybe get one of my patches that I've been working on. Iconic sounds? I don't know. Should we add the Maurice ooze? Because I always like add the Maurice ooze to things. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, that sounds fun. majestic shit. Um, maybe if I wanted, for example, to have Maurice a little lower in the mix when I play lower, I can adjust a velocity curve here. So like we can make this more exponential so that maybe Maurice only comes in when we like really slam the keyboard. Let's see. Like that's, that's a little more natural. I mean, you can also do things like splits. So you're starting to see, right? Like Unify 2 is a little bit like putting all of your plugins inside of like a Korg workstation, which kind of makes sense because John Skippy Lehmkuhl, the mastermind behind Unify 2, is a terrific sound designer, a longtime factory voicing expert for companies including Korg, and longtime sound designer. Did some of the first commercial libraries, a lot like Eric Persing did with Spectrasonics. But Skippy's been at this for like a long time, and he wanted to create a unique environment where you can do all the cool like splits and layers and processing stuff and complex effects chains that you really can't do in other environments, but you could, do on some hardware synths. So you can kind of think of it as like, I don't know, so maybe like a Super Triton or something. So we could set up a split, and that's pretty easy. Like let's right click here, and now Unify 2 is listening for where I press a key. Okay, so now we've set Morris to F3 as the lowest note. So if I play below there, you'll see that I've got a little keyboard readout here for Serum 2, and you'll see that I'm not triggering the Omnisphere layer yet, but if I play above F3, it will trigger. And if I wanted to set F3 as like the top cutoff for Serum, I could do that. It's very easy to create a split. Let's select just below, there we go, the B2, below the F3, and now I've got a split. So that's really cool, right? And I can do the same thing, if I wanted to separate effect processing on Morris here, or if I wanted him to be in the delays, I could just change the aux send here, right, to aux 1. And now I've got that delay. And it's even got master effects. So there's a master area down here. And here's where I could add a master effect. So, I have to do it, right? So let's add my own plugin that I created called Liminal Space to the master bus. Now, Liminal Space is available in VST3 and clap format. Is actually developed in clap and then converted to a VST3. But only on Windows. But you can get that from wavetables.lol. And it does like these really weird effects. It's a very strange reverb that sounds beautiful and can be used in a lot of different contexts, but it's a very effecty effect. Like there's this preset called Cassette that I designed that I really love because it makes this warbly, weird liminal reverb tail. It does all sorts of other things too. Including infinite reverbs. Anyway. It does this cool derezzing effect too. All right, so you start to see how we can assemble a multi-layered patch in Unify 2. I did not mean to do that. I just wanted to get my my clock up, because it might be time to take a short break and then continue on with looking at Unify 2. The short story in Unify 2, it's super interesting because one, it's your gateway into PlugInGuru's excellent libraries of sounds, including like Groove Summit and then the Mega Magic series and all sorts of things. They also make patches for Omnisphere and a whole bunch of other synths. It's not just John Lehmkuhl's patches, but other sound designers like Airwave sell plugins there. Who else? Oh yeah, Wave Sequencer. Paul Carter, who's also Wave Sequencer. His plugins are distributed there at PlugInGuru. So he has a really excellent synth called Hyperion that I really need to do a review of, and also a thing called Thea. And they're both very interesting. He's a fantastic developer, and he has taken over development of Unify 2 from the original developer of Unify 1, who is Mr. Shane Dunn, who is also a fantastic developer. Anyway, the short story on Unify 2 is that it's awesome and it's currently on sale. It's $50 off. And this plugin never goes on sale. Unify has never been on sale. There might have been an intro price, but just like with Spectrasonics, Skippy is very good about his discipline in terms of maintaining price. And so this is the only chance you're going to get, probably for a very long time, to get Unify 2 at a discount. And it comes with a ton of content. We'll get to some of the content. I want to show you some other very unique things about it, but highly recommended for me. And there's a whole bunch of content, like I said, that comes with it that I think makes it a good value for the price. So at $149 for new, I think it's a good price. If you have Unify 1, go get Unify 2 before Sunday, because all of John's content going forward is going to be built for Unify 2 and won't be built for Unify 1. And so if you're, kind of a sample library person, if you like his libraries of patches, which aren't just sample based, we'll get to that too. There's too much to talk about. Just, go and get it now. But you'll see further in the video, like why I think this is a great synthesizer, a great plugin. I'm going to take a short break and we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Now we've started to see, sort of, how Unify, lives up to its name. Unify 2, lets you combine all of your plugins in this kind of plugin playground. But it does also have another feature I want to make sure I talk about, and that's that there are a whole bunch of, come on, let's see. There are a whole bunch of unified preset libraries, okay? So PlugInGuru and members of the PlugInGuru community have taken the factory presets. Sometimes this is manual and sometimes this can be scripted, I guess, and have turned the factory patches for a whole bunch of synths. Unfortunately, not Serum 3 yet, or sorry, Serum 2. But I would assume that might be coming pretty soon. Converted them into instrument patches for Unify. And so, for example, I have Korg Multi-Poly, and that's in here somewhere. Poly. Let's see, not that one. There you go, Korg Multi-Poly, and you can just download these things, okay? And you just unzip them, and you'll find this .guru file. Now, .guru files are this kind of monolithic data format for Unify libraries, and you'll have first contact with this concept when you install the plugin. Actually, it's a two-step process. You install Unify 2 itself, and then there's like 4 files that are the factory libraries, and you just literally just drag and drop them onto the main interface, and they decompress and do all the stuff they need to do. But you can also get like the unified library for multi-poly, and I could drag it and drop it right into the window. And I've already installed this, but I'll just say okay again. And you see, just like that, now if I go to my libraries, I've got this unified Korg multi-poly. And here are all of the patches, the factory patches. And the other thing is they're tagged, they're categorized, right? And so now you can search, across like all of your unified patches. So it's kind of a patch management system as well, which would be a difference between using Unify 2 versus a DAW, right? So I mean, you could make DAW projects that have like your favorite instruments set up. And film and media composers do this a lot, right? Well, they have templates. They're like, well, I'm going to be doing some orchestral scoring, so got all my plugins set up and stuff. Unify 2 is kind of a nice alternative to that. So for example, if I want that, where the heck is that Sweet Dreams, multi-poly patch, right? Well, I forgot, there's two of them, right? And so here's one of them. Right? And then there's this one. And so it makes it really easy to find stuff. And this is actually one of Skippy's patches. The JL is John Lehmkuhl. So anyway, so that's a very cool feature. I'm sure that now that Unify 2 is out, we'll probably be seeing more velocity in terms of converting patch libraries for various popular software synths, hopefully Serum 2, into Unify instrument layers. Well, that would just be super nice, right? And I did note that like G-Force's like brand new map soft synth like has already been unified. Anyway, okay. Another huge feature of Unify 2, beyond just the interface making more sense, the interface having, a lot more information in it, and, it's more modernized for sure, is Guru Sampler 2. And let's see here. Where is my Moody Strings? So just to show you the change here, here's a patch from the Unify, which library is it? It's the Unify Standard library, as opposed to the Unify Super Mega Sampler library. We might talk about those a little bit. There's a lot of great content in both of those libraries, and I found this one. Whoops, that's a little low. I found this to be a very nice sound, and this is powered by the original Guru sampler, which is still in Unify, and we'll talk about why that is. And you can see, okay, this is not a very modern interface, right? And you can tell that this is a pretty limited sampler, even though it does play multi-samples. It does have some modulation and stuff in it, but it's very simplistic. One cool thing is that if I want to use the new Guru Sampler 2, I can just convert this. So I can just go swap Unify Standard Library instruments and just turn it into Guru Sampler 2, and it has the same samples loaded into it. You can also do this kind of automatic conversion by right-clicking on a Guru Sampler thing in the library view, and you can do load patch, replace GS1. That means Guru Sampler 1 with GS2, Guru Sampler 2 for all layers, and then that will load, and it will automatically have Guru Sampler 2. Now the reason, fat fingers. The reason that Guru Sampler 1 is still around and not all the patches have been automatically converted to GS2 is that it's a different instrument, and it has new filters that actually sound really good. I think the resonance is pleasing. There's a whole bunch of different variations. So there's low pass, high pass, two forms of band pass, and a notch, and then they come in all of the different all of the different steepness modes. So they go 12 up to 48, which is awesome. The other thing that they have is a saturation stage now. You can really hear that changes the sound of the filter, and quite pleasing, actually. And there's a separate gain as well. Double-clicking anything returns it to its default value, which is nice. And then it's also got an Omnisphere-inspired feature that this is like the filter variation control in Omnisphere that you get in the filter zoom. So it's called split, and what it does is it does that same trick of like panning the sample voice, but it does it not by really moving it in the stereo field, but it's a stereo filter. And so now the left and the right have different cutoffs. And so there's an apparent panning effect, but it's done with the filter rather than with amplitude in the stereo panorama. And that's modulatable. And so that's like really cool. So having played around with that, right? So this is the process I went through. Then I made a multiple layer patch with 2 Guru Sampler 2s in it. Let's go to there. And this is a very typical patch that I would make on any synthesizer. You know, this is beautiful, like very stereo, spready, detuned saw sound. So this was my original kind of, inspiration patch, right? We'll pull up Guru Sampler 2 for it. And what I've done here is I've adjusted the fine tune on this layer like up almost 7 cents, right? And then in the other layer, I've got it with a slightly different sample set in it, by the way. Click the right button, Keith. I've got my fine tune down by about 7 cents, right? And I've also got the pan set up differently and also pan modulation. I find this to be a very nice little multi-sample player. It's actually quite powerful. It has an easy modulation system, and it's just like a one-page thing, right? It's just like there's no super depth to this interface. But you've got a really cool modulation system. Like if I want the mod wheel to control something, like say maybe I want to change the cutoff on this guy, I just click mod wheel, and now all of these parameters that are modulatable are listening. And so I could modulate filter cutoff up right with the mod wheel if I wanted to, and we can even hear it. And we can see it. Like I like that both of the curves for the stereo split in the filter are visible. It's got visualization now of the waveform that we're playing, which is kind of nice. And I picked a different sample set here. The original, this Moody Strings patch had this synth, Moody Strings sample in it. But if you browse in here, there's a whole bunch of other string type of things. And one of those is this retro tape saws. So it's kind of more of a Mellotron style sound. And then we're still listening for modulation, but we can stop it. Anyway, it's just really nice. And it's got an auxiliary envelope now that they call a utility envelope. It's opinionated in the sense that it has like some mappings already set up for you, like, velocity to filter and velocity to amp, thank you for that. So it's nice. And the other thing that I've done in this patch, kind of all over the place as usual, right? Is that I've given each of these layers its own Omnisphere FX rack, right? I could have used the built-in effects. And one thing that I find like really interesting in the new Omnisphere 3 effects is this drifter, the unstable drifter plugin, or effect, whatever you want to call it. It gives a really nice like analog kind of drifter things, even though it's not operating at the voice level. And then there's this really beautiful Selena ensemble chorus that is new to Omnisphere 3. And I just thought these fit these particular sounds very well. And, you would be like, this doesn't necessarily like sound like a sample patch, right? I mean, I could have done something like this in, chord multi-poly, and it'd be like maybe a little more authentically drifty, But this is a great, it's a great sounding thing. Anyway, let's see. Once I had, these layers set up, and you'll note that, see, I've panned this layer to, whoops, I've panned, show me the value. Oh, there it is. The value's over here. So I've panned this one minus 33 to the left. I've panned this one 33 to the right. And so, that stereo mix is spread across the keyboard. I'm also modulating pan position with keyboard tracking. And having set up this kind of synthy sounding thing that, has kind of this sort of Juno pad sound and then more of a Mellotron kind of sound, I was like, oh, well, we should just add some real strings to that, right? So here's another variation on that patch where I've added Soundpaint, and it's running one of the Ad Astra ensembles, it's this really beautiful sort of scoring strings patch. And this, fades in slowly. So if it's not soloed, then we've got synth strings where real strings then fade in over time. I guess another thing that might be worth talking about at this point is the fact that you do have macro controls in Unify 2. And you actually have 32 of them. So there are 4 banks of 8 macros that can be used to modulate anything. So, and multiple things. So it's pretty easy to use. Let's just take one at random. So here's macro 14. I don't have it mapped to any hardware yet, but I can just click on this little link button and I can do MIDI learn. And now I'm just going to reach for one of the knobs on my multi-poly. And see, now I'm controlling macro 14. I hope that's not too far to the right. Right? And I could hook this up to anything. And there's kind of 2 ways to do that. We can pull up the linked parameters here, and we can add a new modulation destination. Oops, let me move over a little bit. Oh, I guess I can't undock this. I undocked it. That's the dock button. Okay. So we could add a new destination. So for example, maybe I want this to adjust the panning on one of the layers. So we could do instrument, retro tape saws, pan position. And then now we're panning it from left to right. If you look at the little pan indicator up here, let's maybe make that bigger. Macro 14, where are you? Link parameters. Right, so now I'm panning it from left to right. And then we could also target another destination. So let's do synth moody strings pan position. And you can see that I've got different modulation curves for each thing. So if I want to invert this one, so now you can see how moody saws is panning to the left and retro tape saws is panning to the right. Now that's not going to make a huge audible difference, but now I've got a stereo width control, right? So for the internal parameters that are here in kind of the mixer view, that is how you have to select modulation destinations. There's a second mode for assigning macro control to a plugin. Let's maybe use this to also modulate something I don't know, it could be the filter, maybe filter resonance. That'd be good. If I just click this little ear icon, now we're listening for control changes. And so I can just pick resonance here. And now you see I've got resonance mapped. And we get our other sampler. And let's tweak its resonance. Oh, it's not in listen mode. Come on, 14. 14, listen to me. Come in, 14. There it is. All right, let's get that. Attach that to resonance. Okay. And so now this will also, hopefully this is hearable. Here we go. Let's move There we go. So now I'm changing panning, I'm changing resonance. And if I want to bring this up again, I just link parameters here, and we can adjust these curves independently. So like if we don't want that to be linear, we could like drag these down. We could make this one exponential, sort of, or I guess this is more logarithmic, right? And these can also have multiple breakpoints. So that one's going that way. This one's going this way. Kind of pleasant. Now, another really interesting thing about the macros is they also have an LFO mode. So this is like called run over here. And now when I do this, these values are just going to modulate themselves. Which is very cool. And so this can go forward it would be more of like a ramp effect. They can go forward and backward, which would be more of a triangle wave effect. They can be unipolar or bipolar. And so that's really interesting. And they could be synced or not. So in this case, it's not synced to the clock, but we can sync it to the clock. And now it's 1 bar. Well, I guess you might say, well, Keith, how do you know that's 1 bar? Well, we could run our metronome, right? So let's try that. Let's turn it on. Tick, 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 tick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's cool. You're like, wait, Keith, why are you showing a metronome? Because the metronome in Unify 2 is insane. So it actually is its own instance of Unify, and in addition to your standard clicks, you can also use like any BPM drum pattern. So for example, there's like this CR78 bossa nova loop. Check this out. Super fun, right? And that can actually be saved. The metronome settings can be saved in a patch. So that's kind of cool. It can also be sent to the master effects down here. So it's like kind of an integrated part of the patch. And so you could kind of make some fun and crazy sounding. I'm getting some weirdness up here, aren't I? Does panic help that? I think I might need to restart Unify. But anyway, so there's a real quick look at the metronome, and that's what I was using. I'm going to try changing patches here. That's what I was using to do like the intro patch. And there's another one I want to show. Go to my user library. So here's a more complex, multi-layered patch that uses some of the factory content. Did that fix my problem? Yeah. So you can hear like some of these layers are like BPM layers. So this one is a Unify 2 layer. It's called Chord Dance. We could just solo that. And it's an arpeggiated patch. And it follows my chords. So if we go into this separate Unify 2 layer, we can see that this is being driven by this MIDI effect that's called Blue Arp. So Blue Arp, it's not the sexiest looking plugin, but this comes with Unify. I guess it's by OMG Instruments. while the interface isn't so handsome, it's an extremely powerful arpeggiator that also can do chord modes. So it's very cool, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. It's like even kind of like a mini sequencer. So that's nifty. Just wanted to show that off. And I've got, all sorts of different layers in here. Whoops, I just wanted to expand everything. By the way, right-clicking here will expand and unexpand anything that's in that rack section. I guess I don't know if that's called the rack section. But this patch, started with this, oops, unsolo that one. This kind of little vocal pluck Guru sampler patch. And I thought that little vocal was nice. And so I mixed that in with my my multi-sampled, I think this is the I'm Not in Love choir. Come on, Omnisphere, you can do it. You can do it. You can come up. Yeah, it's, choir stereo bounce, and then I've got multiply native in here. Let's unsolo you. So I've got one of my custom wavetable type patches. Is this the, oh yeah, this is one of the liminal patches. And then in the metronome, I've got that same CR78 because it's just such a cool sounding groove. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really fun, right? Fun stuff, fun stuff. Let's see. Let's stop you. Okay, so we looked at Guru Sampler 2. We looked at like the metronome, which is wild. Another kind of neat feature with the metronome, by the way. We'll see if this works. Sometimes this crashed for me. This is the version 0000 of Unify 2. It's not a new update. I don't know if they published one today, but I know they're going to soon. And I'm sure that'll fix some tiny bugs and stuff. But since I have like Groove Summit, which is a BPM drum library installed, actually it's much more than that. I can actually use it in the metronome. So we can go in and let's see. I wonder what this one is. BPM drums. If we right click, we can do that. My head might be in the way. We can do load as metronome patch, and that will load that into the metronome. Oh, I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, sometimes doing that causes a little crash. But anyway, that will be a cool feature when it works, and I have made that work sometimes. I'm going to have to start up Unify again. Boy, I'm going to have to do some editing in this one. But anyway, lots of fun to be had with the metronome. Okay, there are some other patches I want to show. I'm going to take a short break, and I will be right back. Beautiful sound, right? I'm back. I want to talk about another one of Unify 2's amazing capabilities and show you how to build a patch like this. Now, what's going on in this patch is we have a very simple, this Space Piano OB Guru Sampler patch. It's not even upgraded to Guru Sampler 2 here. But you'll see that I've got 8 instances of it. And each time I press a note, I'm firing a different voice. And that's possible through this MIDI plugin in Unify 2 called Polybox. And so Polybox is actually kind of designed for making synths that don't support polyphonic aftertouch or MPE into devices that do. So I'll show you how this is built, and it's actually pretty easy. Let's go to all libraries, and let's find the original version of Space Piano. Oh, come on. Click in the box, Keith. Space. How, typing, how does it work? Space Piano. What has happened? Is everyone okay? Here's the original version. This is part of the factory library. And it's a nice, little evocative patch by itself. But I was like, what would be cool is if we took this and like on every key press, you could have a different effect. And of course, I'm kind of obsessed with the Omnisphere 3 effects rack right now. So I was like, okay, we'll expand it. Let's just modify this guy a little bit. Let's add an effect. We'll add Spectrasonics Omnisphere effects to it. Okay, and now I've got an empty Omnisphere effects rack on this. Okay, and I can give myself copies of this voice very easily. Is it here? Yeah, look at this. There's these duplicate options. So I can duplicate this 7 times. And now I've got 8 instances. And of course, you can kind of hear that they're all stacked up now. But if I want to fire these like one at a time, I can add a, whoops, please everybody roll up. I'm right clicking on that thing. What we're going to do is we're going to insert a MIDI effects layer, and we're going to pull up this thing called Polybox 8 layers. Okay, and now what I can do is this guy, I can pull up Polybox here and say my pool size is 8. Let's randomize which voices we hit. Okay, and see, voices per channel 1. All right. And then I should have done something before to make my life a little bit easier, but it's not that hard, even if you do it wrong. Instead of the source just being the keyboard, I now make the source for this Polybox. So now all I have to do to make Polybox run these voices is change this in, which means like where the MIDI source is coming from, to Polybox. Okay, and so, well, I should have set this up beforehand, but I can just go through here, right? Set in Polybox, in Polybox, in Polybox, in Polybox. Okay, and here's our 8th voice, Polybox. Now you can see that all of my space piano layers, right, are they're taking their input from M1. That's MIDI effect 1. Okay, and the final thing I need to do is just change, instead of responding to all channels, just change these sequentially to channels 1 through 8, right? It's a little boring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now, if I've done this correctly, there we go. We've only got one thing per channel. Okay, so let's roll those back up. Let's see. Let's just demonstrate this a little easier. We'll turn off random. And so now, well, that didn't undo the random. Does that not make any difference? There we go. Had to hit the reset button. So now we're just cycling through the voices, right? And of course, what we could do now is we could put a little fuck shit up effect chain on each and every voice. So it's like, having like a polyphonic effects. And now rather than bore you with actually doing that, right, we could just look at one voice real quick. Here's tube overdrive on this one channel. So let's see. Yeah. Cool, right? So let's jump ahead to Space Piano, where I've got all my effects chains configured, doing different FSU stuff on every voice. So like we've got the valve radio and shimmer here, right? We've got what's on this one. We've got, magnetic echo followed by inner space on second voice. And then I'm randomizing the voices here. Cool. And of course, because I put that shit on everything, at the end of the chain here, I've got another Omnisphere FX unit on my master bus. Open up for me, Omnisphere. With tube compressor, right? And then one of these, unstable drifters. And then to put the finishing touches on it, we've got Liminal Space set to the cassette preset. It might be slightly customized from the preset. And then all we have to do to kind of complete this sort of haunting and haunted, vaguely suggestive of Vangelis patch is just maybe add some strings. And so I added a normal layer that is not being controlled by the Polybox. It's taking its input from just the normal MIDI in, and it's on all channels, this violin ensemble that comes from the Unify to factory library, and it's quite charming. Pretty neat. I mean, that's a very unique sound design thing that I've not really seen in a lot of other places. You could do this with like Omnisphere's multimode, but here we could use any of our plugins. And keep in mind, there could be a different instrument on each one of these voices if we wanted to. So anyway, to maybe wrap things up, Unify 2 is like really awesome. It's very creative. It's fun to use. I'm having a lot of fun making new patches with it. It's just kind of a great thing. So it kind of like Omnisphere 3 was a no-brainer upgrade if you already owned Omnisphere. Unify 2 definitely is. It's only $49 right now to upgrade from Unify 1. Highly recommend that if you're already a Unify user. If you want to get into Unify, as I said, now is really the only time that you're going to be able to get a discount on it. So it would be $149 for new users as opposed to regular price of $199. But that's only good through this coming Sunday. So anyway, hey, go to wavetables.lol. Get yourself some wavetables. If you're a Windows user, go get Liminal Space so that you can make authentically weird ambient patches like I like to make. And that's it. Otherwise, be good to each other, have a great day, and I will talk to you later.